Welcome to the Investing Bros. Yes, it is our 1-year anniversary. I encourage you all to go watch Tim's awesome video that he made earlier this morning. You can find it here on our channel. Go check it out. Give it some love. And let's get the likes on that video sky high. I want to see the most likes on that video that have ever been liked on our channel. Thank you for watching and tuning in. Yes, we had a PCE beat. Let's check it out. Let's look at the numbers right here. Core PCE price index month over month. The actual print was 0.2. The consensus was 0.2 and forecasted for 0.3. Right? Very important beat here. This is essentially clenching the fact that the Fed will not hike in December, but will pause. Right? So very, very important there from the PCE. Now, there's other data here that we might as well show as well. Personal income actually slumped, right? So it was down, but not so much that it's going to set off any alarm bells, I would think. Personal spending also down. So this one a little bit more wider margin there, so not as great there at all. CNBC had something to say about it. Fed's favorite gauge shows inflation rose 0.2% in October and 3.5% from a year ago, as expected. So essentially a clean bill of health from the Bureau of Labor of Statistics. How accurate it is, we may only find out from books much later in the future. I have a feeling that this soft landing narrative that seems to be now instilled in the market is going to perpetuate. It's going to calm all ills until the next storm that causes everyone to question the Fed and the government's ability in general to manage a currency. But for now, it seems that the soft landing has mostly occurred, right? Could have a they're still predicting a recession in 2027, but that's tomorrow's problem, right? Keep printing, baby. Keep printing and getting involved in expensive conflicts that perhaps maybe there's some questions to be asked about. All right, well, it's not just America that's getting a positive print today. Eurozone inflation sinks to 2.4% below expectations. Annual inflation in the Eurozone also fell. So good looks all across the world as the supply chain is nearing full health, at least according to these government-issued data providers for inflation. Hey, you know, what else do we have to measure it, right? What else do we have to measure? Well, we have trueflation. And you know what? We haven't checked out trueflation in a long time. Let's see what trueflation is rocking out at over here. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's questionable whether or not they're printing accurate data because it always seems to be very favorable to what they want. But there are actually other metrics of inflation that are calculated by the private industry, and this is Trueflation. Today's U.S. inflation rate by Trueflation 2.87, and then you compare that with 3.5, right? So it would actually be lower according to the private statistics. So, you know, it's always a head scratcher when you're trying to look at this and really parse out the facts from the fiction. But ultimately here, guys, it does seem that that soft landing narrative, at least, is going to be welcomed with open arms by the markets. Let's take a look here how the prices are reacting. Bitcoin was up on the news, but now has corrected downward. I'm on the 1-hour chart here. Nothing to fear, folks. We're not breaking major support on Bitcoin, although we are right up above 37,500. Okay, so 37,500 is right around here. So we are actually wicked to it. And as you can see, that candlestick is trying to print a little bit higher back up above that bottom line of the Bollinger Band. So we'll leave that alone. No sense in going into the hourly charts because this video is going to be played throughout the day. But as you can see, guys, not a huge turnout yet into the crypto markets from this print. We do see some names that are performing quite well. Lido, 2.5 to the upside, and Dogecoin, 1.4 to the upside. We'll talk about Dogecoin here in just a second because there is some exciting news around the doggy meme coin. But we've talked about inflation. We've kind of looked at how the markets are responding. course, the U.S. equity markets are not open quite yet to respond to that positive print, but more than likely we'll see at least a green close for the NASDAQ, the S&P, and more than likely the Dow Jones. And all eyes are turned to Tesla this morning for several reasons, right? But Tesla, I believe, is rolling out for the first time their Cybertruck delivery. So that'll be something really exciting, and will more than likely have Tesla's price moving to the upside, among other things. All right, let's go ahead and get into some digital asset news here. U.S. Treasuries to expand sanction powers for digital assets. So let's give this one a check here. According to Bloomberg, the Treasury provided Congress a set of common sense recommendations to expand our authorities and broaden our tools and resources to go after illicit actors in the digital asset space. Common sense recommendations coming from the Treasury Department. Why do I not believe that they are anything but common sense? I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. I mean, we just need to see. We need to see what ends up happening here. I mean, obviously, it's discouraging to see digital currencies and sanctions and U.S. Treasury in the same sentence in a headline, right? But, you know, is it all bark and no bite? We don't know. We don't know, and we can't really do anything because a lot of these folks are nominated. Treasury Department, Janet Yellen, nominated, right? Not elected, not an elected official. So here we go. That's going to be something to monitor. Whether or not it's even possible. I mean, it seems as though they've already, quote unquote, sanctioned folks by having Tether freeze wallets, right? Or freeze coins that were within wallets of folks that they had a disagreement with. By they, I mean, you know, global financial powers, perhaps the U.S. Treasury, right? So it's not like this isn't already happening. I suppose now they're trying to cover their trails, maybe not cover the trails, but they're trying to officially authorize that type of a sanction, right? That type of a money controls, and they're not giving up in the digital space. All right, well, that's a pretty pessimistic tone, right, to that story. It sucks. Before I get into the optimistic tone, I want to pivot over and check out the chat and see what we're rocking with. Army Piper was first to the chat, said, let's get it. Gotta love that. ADA Ace claims he was second and said, dang, was not. So there you go. Let's see. My ADA is not launching. Correct. Yeah, ADA, most cryptos, as we just saw, are actually staying somewhat tethered to the ground. Happy birthday, IBZ. That's right. That is right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for our anniversary episode here of our 9 a.m. news show. Again, I'd encourage you to go watch that video that Tim made. And if you want to celebrate with us today, you can become a member to this very YouTube channel. You'll get access to the paid Discord. Okay, that'll come with your membership, and you'll actually be able to go check out what we're going to talk about today in our bro time. And obviously, we're going to be celebrating our anniversary. All you have to do that is go in and sign up for the membership for this very YouTube channel right here. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. We've got a lot of excited bros. We talk day in and day out about all things crypto, all things economy, and we even talk stocks, right? We even talk a lot of different assets, not just crypto. We all learn a lot. We all learn from each other. I learn something new from the Discord almost every single day, right? So let's see. A Mellow Fellow said, HBDIBZ. Gotta love it. Hit the like button, says ADA Ace. That's something I can't agree with anymore. Gia S also saying good morning. And ADA Ace said Fed will go too far, in my opinion. So ADA Ace may actually be predicting another hike sometime soon. Interesting prediction there. Or maybe keeping the rates elevated where they are right now for longer than they should. Could be another interpretation of ADA Ace's comment there. So let's see what else we got here in the chat. Ibrima said, let's see. I don't know how relevant this is to what we're talking about. Amen. I hope to receive millions of billions. I am watching the West Africa, the Gambia city, Banjul. Okay. If you're watching from Banjul, hope you're having a really good day in Banjul. We got a message there from the continent of Africa, the Gambia city, Banjul. Great to hear from you, Jaita Ibrahima. Awesome. GS said, happy 1-year anniversary, bros. Wishing you many more wishes. Absolutely. It's so good to be 1 year in, guys. We cracked 5K. That was a super big accomplishment, and it looks like we'll be cracking 6K subscribers here very, very soon on YouTube, and it's all thanks to you. It's all thanks to you. So do yourself a favor and hit the like button and subscribe. Help us get to 6,000 subscribers on our anniversary day. That would be really, really powerful and a lot of fun. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into that optimistic story. Getting a lot of positive love in the chat. Absolutely love to see it. Dogecoin. Funded SpaceX Doge 1 moon mission gets a step closer to launch. So this is pretty cool. A planned moon mission funded by Dogecoin took a step closer to launch following a key regulatory approval from the National Telecoms and Information Administration, NTIA, however you pronounce that, which forms a precursor to the final federal communications license. So super cool. Obviously, this is going to be a big deal when it launches, and we're one step closer to that. Per this tweet here, the National Telecom NITA Agency, Department of Commerce, approved Doge 1 X band. Okay, so not exactly sure what that means, right? But there's then the FCC license. They've got to get the X and the S band, and I believe. So what is the purpose of this satellite, right? It's a miniature screen on Doge 1 satellite will display advertisements, images, and logos, which will subsequently be broadcast to the Earth. Doge 1 was the first satellite launch to be paid for its entirety in Doge tokens. So very cool. One small step for Doge, one giant leap for memes. It's going to be really cool. And it's self-funded, it looks like. Self-funded by the Doge ecosystem, I suppose. It is kind of phenomenal. I mean, after all, we think about these cryptocurrencies as just the future of currency, but they are also ways to fund projects that have nothing to do with cryptocurrency, such as launching a satellite into orbit, right? It's very, very interesting what can be done with capital that humans on the Earth have decided should be digital, right? It shouldn't be in fiat, shouldn't be stored in traditional vessels of wealth storage, right? Should be stored rather on the internet in the form of scarce code, right? So it's very, very interesting, and it's actually making some very exciting big steps towards a satellite getting launched into space. Let's see what the Doge price is here on the daily chart. You can take a look. It is 8 cents, and it's moving to the upside currently in the candlestick that we're in now on the day. Let's take a look at a little bit more drilled in here on the 1 hour, and you can see Dogecoin not ready for launch just yet. It's definitely pacing itself, but has been up and to the right for all of November, which is quite nice. It's quite nice to see. Let's see. It started the month, or by the 21st of November, we are actually up 15% if you're in Dogecoin. So 15% since the 21st of November. It's nice to be in Doge, I would say. I do have some exposure to Doge. It's a very small portion of my overall crypto portfolio, but it is great. Elon Musk claims advertisers are trying to blackmail him, says go F yourself. Okay, so I'm not going to play the viral clip, but if you spend a half a second on the platform X, you will see the video of Elon issuing this edict. And I have to say, there's a lot of speculation in a direction that I didn't think that there would be, right? It's very interesting where this story has gone, because when I watched this video for the first time last night, I had my own thoughts about this, and they were very different from what the press seems to be thinking this morning. This Musk comments have put pressure on X overall, including Chief Executive Linda Yaccarino. Okay, so she was made CEO. In case you didn't know, Musk is no longer CEO of X, but he is obviously extremely influential and owns the platform. An executive told Reuters that she would remain at the company for now. In an X post late on Wednesday, Yaccarino said that Musk had offered an apology and an explicit point of view about our position. And here's my perspective when it comes to advertising. Yaccarino speaking, X is standing at a unique and amazing intersection of free speech, it certainly is, and Main Street. And the X community is powerful and is here to welcome you. To our partners who believe in our meaningful work. Thank you. Right, she added. So that was Wednesday, okay? Today, you got a little bit of a different message from X participants saying, go F yourself, right? He was speaking most directly to Disney CEO Bob Iger. but also Apple and IBM, can be implied that that message was for them as well. Now we take a step back here because this is kind of big, right? This is kind of important because Elon is putting his neck out not just for his own dignity, not just for what he says is blackmail to show the world, look, these big corporations that you know and love, that you let your kids watch their content, they're actually blackmailing me. They're actually blackmailing the platforms that they're advertising through to remind you that the new princess video, the new princess movie is available for streaming on their platform, right? That is really what's going on here. And it's also multiplied by several other corporations who are kind of in lockstep. Now, what I'll say is that for the folks who think that Disney and IBM and Apple are justified in removing their advertising dollars or diverting them to other places, right, off of X, I think that you have somewhat of a case, right? I think that if you are extremely, extremely, critical, right, of Elon, who's made some comments that were not perfect recently, kind of in the realm of anti-Semitism, right? He's himself has said that those were wrong, that those were bad. He's apologized, right? And I think that is enough. I mean, he said that they were a mistake. He wish he hadn't said it, right? That's his point of view. Of the millions of tweets that he writes per month, it seems, right? A couple of them are going to be offensive. So you state where you're wrong and you apologize and you move on, right? And unfortunately, he's been coming under fire as being anti-Semitic, but clearly, to those who kind of understand, he isn't, right? So that's kind of the way that the cookie crumbles for me, but I can understand that the damage was done. He said a thing. Yes, he's apologized. I can kind of see your perspective, right? But zooming even further out, Elon Musk is fighting battles on, 12 fronts, right? He's trying to get funding from NASA. He's trying to fight for free speech on X. He's trying to remind the climate establishment, the anti-climate change establishment, that he was one of the first pioneers of an actual solution against climate change. He wasn't even invited to the White House meeting for EVs in America, right? So he's fighting on that front. He's got his back against the wall on so many fronts. X, he's filing for all kinds of different licenses, and he's basically winning in that front as well, trying to create X as a WeChat of the West, trying to create a financial platform in addition to the social media platform that X is. That's going to be very, very interesting, very, very successful, right? But the question that's being posed is not, how can we help Elon, right? The question that's being posed is, should Yaccarino, the current CEO of X, should she leave? And how could she not after this? After Elon gives a big middle finger to Disney and Apple and IBM. Well, the point of view that I take here is that Elon, he's on the side of the good, right? And maybe you disagree with me, and that's okay, right? I see your perspective as well. He's made some mistakes here, and after all, he's coming out and saying something explicit, right? So maybe he's breaking norms that you don't agree with. I think that these norms are adequate. They're priced adequately, right? He's breaking through these norms for good reason, right? He's justified in doing this because enough is enough. Free speech is free speech, right? If you don't want to support that, then leave the platform. But now you are anti-free speech, right? That's the implied move with taking your advertising dollars away from X. And maybe you disagree with that, right? And that's okay. Maybe you disagree with a lot of them. I'm saying this is a lot of opinion, guys. So just realize that. It's also not a lot of crypto. So we are going to move on. But I felt that the tone, and we'll kind of monitor this throughout the day, right? The media coverage, the Twitterverse kind of responding to this comment from Elon yesterday, telling, essentially, Disney's Bob Iger to go F himself, right? We'll be monitoring that. We'll be monitoring kind of what is the response. But my first inclination was finally he's standing up for himself. And he's not afraid of monetary loss. He happens to be the richest person in the world with a company that's in the top 10 by market cap in the world, right? So he has plenty of ammunition. He has plenty of very strong platforms to stand on. Right? No, he's not going anywhere. So I'm very interested to see kind of how this plays out. I don't think Yacarino is going anywhere, even though she does kind of come from the media establishment. I think that she wouldn't have taken this job if she didn't believe in what Elon's doing at a greater philosophical level, right? That he's fighting, he's leading the rebellion, so to speak, and not against the establishment, but against those in the establishment who are bad actors, right? Who are against free speech, who are against the founding principles of the West, right? So I don't know. It seemed pretty clear to me, but folks want to make it seem like Yacarino is just a simple corporate pawn who's coming to this X platform to just operate things and be quiet. No, I think that she's probably more aligned with Elon's views than folks are giving her credit for. I think she's a very intelligent woman. All right, and you can tell that because she's hated. Apparently, a lot of people hate her. So that means she's probably doing something right. All right, taking a look here at the chat. Let's see what the folks are thinking. A mellow fellow said, "You mean one giant leap for meme kind." Right, LOL, I like it. Yes, that was an unplanned quote, by the way. So just a stroke of genius that maybe wasn't executed all that well. DJ Monty said, I must say that I really like the tone and atmosphere you create. Well, I appreciate that, DJ Monty. Let's hear it for you. Right here on our 1-year anniversary, DJ Monty dropping some real good vibes. I appreciate it. Appreciate your appreciation of the tone that we set here. Gotta love that. ADAA said, yes, your second statement holding for too long. Okay, excellent. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So 8 going back to the Fed conversation, ADAA saying that they're not going to hike, but that they're going to hold those rates for too high for too long, essentially, and that they're going to overplay their hand. And essentially, the way that would play out is that it would induce a recession. And that would be bad, right? That would be the opposite of a soft landing, right? So, and then Richard Palicio said, everyone give it up, let's show some support. It's free. Can't agree with that anymore. That's awesome. And then ADA Ace saying about this Elon story and Elon's quotes, presumably, that they were glorious. It was glorious. Very cool. So it seems like there's not much opposition to this position that I'm taking here, but I'm not seeing an overwhelming and resounding agreement with it. So just let me know. What do you think? I don't hold to these positions extremely tightly. I think that they could potentially be wrong positions. I mean, Elon could be going off the rails here, and this is the beginning of the end for his entire career. However, if you kind of look at his body of work, right, he's gone against the status quo again and again and been successful. People said, hey, EVs are stupid. Why would you make EVs? The world is dominated by big oil. Well, you've seen he's been very, very successful, not just on one continent, but several. Let's keep moving here, guys, because there is a couple more stories that are going to be relevant to your portfolio of digital assets. Let's get into them. FTX approved to sell assets worth almost $1 billion, $873 million for creditor repayment. Okay, who's going to buy it? Who's going to buy all those assets? Maybe it's BlackRock, right? They're on the market for a lot of crypto assets that aren't going to spook the market, aren't going to move the price too much. So my speculation is that maybe BlackRock will be buying those digital assets from FTX, or at least the Bitcoin and Ethereum that they need for their spot ETF that should be approved any minute now, right? Any minute. Well, probably going to be more like in January. So let's go ahead. China's wealthy bet on Bitcoin's future surge of investments incoming. This is basically a story about the Arthur Hayes newsletter that's come out recently, and there is a highlight I wanted to bring to you all's attention that is bullish. Arthur Hayes notes that affluent Chinese individuals are well-versed in Bitcoin's potential as a store of value and are keenly aware of its evolution and success. Given its attractiveness, if there are legal pathways to transfer funds from mainland China to Hong Kong, Hayes predicts that Bitcoin could be among the assets purchased. Absolutely. So we've been monitoring closely the thawing of Chinese ban on crypto. We've been monitoring that closely, and it has been on the thaw. Right, it has been on the uptrend, so to speak. Right, there have been obstacles right? There have been statements from government officials and regulatory agencies within the Chinese government and Hong Kong government that have said, "Oh no, we are going to ban it," right? But those have been corrections to the overall uptrend of bullishness and thawing towards Bitcoin from the Chinese establishment, the People's Republic of China. So that could be very, very interesting. Also, something that's mentioned that we won't get into in detail is the QE that is likely to be happening in China. That's something that Arthur Hayes is predicting that the Chinese money printers will actually be going burr very, very soon. He makes a bunch of different arguments for in support of that claim. A mellow fellow said, "Got you, T. I feel like if you step into the position of CEO with Elon at the helm, you should know the type of battle you're in for." That's right. That's right. It's not like she got, you know, the CEO position of Reuters, right, or the BBC, or something about the same size as X, right? She got elected. She got hired to the job at an app, right? It's the future of communication, not the past, right? Not the current reigning champion of media, right? Which would be the legacy media that is very quickly aging, right, and dying off, as we've observed over the last decade. Kind of this obvious transition from establishment media that now all have Twitter accounts, right? And that's where they get the most friction. That's where they get the most traffic of people coming and reading what they have to say, the news that they've found out about the world. It all gets read first on Twitter, right? So it's very interesting. My personal prediction is that she's not going anywhere. Why would she leave something that's so awesome? I mean, yeah, they're going to lose investment or advertising dollars from IBM, right, and from Disney and from Apple, right? But I think that in the long run, these kinds of stands for principles that built the West are going to be seen as the right thing to do, right? Speaking truth to power, right? That seems to be the right thing to do, but it's just my perspective. Doesn't mean it's necessarily 100% true. Well, we got one more story as we close out. SEC Chair Gary Gensler, maybe you've heard of him. He comments on prospectus for spot Bitcoin ETF. Guys, I'm going to cut to the chase. You might see this headline around in the space. It's basically a nothing burger, right? He said a lot of the same things that he's said before, that the crypto world is rife with fraud and manipulation and money laundering, and that the process of evaluating these spot ETF applications are time tested, go back decades, right? And they're very important. But what he doesn't say that is very important is that he will not be rejecting these ETF applications. That's the only part that matters, right? Because he wasn't going to approve them in this interview, right? It was some trade show or something like that. He wasn't going to announce the approval there. But the important thing is that he didn't say that he wasn't going to approve the application. So that's what's important here, guys. Ultimately, I thank you all so much for tuning in to the Investing Bros. It's been a year, right? When Tim and I first went live, November 30th, exactly this time last year, man, you can go back, you can watch that video, and we'll probably be watching some clips from that video in today's Bro Time behind the membership, right? So you have to be a member of YouTube to see our Tuesday and Thursday live shows every week. It's not just the anniversary week. It's going to be every week. And we have a lot of folks that pour in there that are bros, right? And they come for Bro Time to talk shop about crypto. We do a lot more TA on charts that are shouted out, right? We have a ton of fun in Bro Time. We are a little more open with our opinions on things, but that's okay because bros know that opinions are just that. They're just opinions, right? It doesn't mean that you have to agree with us. Everything that I say, you don't have to agree with it. That's the beauty of free speech and a free and open society that hopefully is not passing away before our eyes. I have been T. Shroom here, trying to end on an optimistic note, but having trouble doing so. Folks, let me know down in the comments. I really am genuinely interested. What do you think about Elon's comments? Do you think Yacarino should leave X? Do you think that she should stay? Do you think that all advertisers should leave X and stop spending money there? Or do you think that Elon is really a brain from the future, that he's seeing down the portal of time, right? And seeing that the decisions that he's making today are going to actually lead to a freer society in the future. Let me know what you think. I am but a man, right? My opinions are but small. But after all, I do have a few people here tuning in who may share a similar view. So thank you so much for tuning in. 1 year anniversary episode. I think it was a good one. We got the PCE beat. The markets are likely going to pump. And we're getting close to the holidays. I'm getting that warm and buzzy feeling. And it's all thanks to you guys supporting the channel, clicking on the links of our sponsors and our affiliates, and absolutely joining the membership here for YouTube. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in bro time.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.